then this man brings software and SaaS to the table to create automation at light speed. If I love delegation, then he builds companies that employ other people to do all the work for you. And I realized for the first time, standing across the aisle, I was like, wow, we get married. And
That's
I
what
was
it feels
like,
like.
yes, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I love this guy, and I love his culture, and I love his company, and I love his people, and I love how he has empowered so many people. And this is a very important week for Carlos because this is the last week of his business life where he will ever coach, mentor, or train someone ever again to be successful in real estate. He's killing one thing, and today on the stage is giving birth to something new. So it's a birthday celebration. Give it up for Carlos Reyes.
Thank you. Thank you. Addition by subtraction. Addition by subtraction. You know, it's something that we've been discussing a lot is in order for you to truly bring in what God has to offer, you got to clear the table. You got to subtract relationships, habits, you know, different things that don't serve you or don't serve others. And that's what it feels like. You know, Chris and I, by the way, first and foremost, thank you, brother, for all the beautiful words. I truly do appreciate that. Chris and I, the first time that we ever ran into each other was at the Hero Mastermind. I spoke there, you spoke there. Uh, uh, Key West, Florida? Yeah, Key West, right? I
Yep.
don't even remember, right? By the way, did I tell you I just saw this man here? I literally just saw him last week. Ed my this what was it called? The conference, a Grow, Create. Yep. So Ed Milet went on for 75 minutes, sucks the oxygen out of the room, right? Because he's a pretty good speaker. The guy who's ever heard Ed Milet speak, by the way,
Yeah.
the guy's pretty solid, right? So Ken Jocelyn, the guy that was throwing the event, needed somebody to follow what Ed was going to present, right? And then, praise God, you know, every time before I take the stage, I give it to God, and then there's no pressure on me. You know what I mean? It actually works. It's that easy. So I saw him. I'm like, oh my God. You know, I just saw you at the gala. Here you are, and then here we are again. So I don't know what's going on here, right? You know, but it's beautiful to see some beautiful people here. So thank you for the kind words.
You're welcome.
Second is, again, addition by subtraction. Tomorrow, the reason why I'm in and out today is because tomorrow I am throwing my last ever real estate workshop in my life because we're launching Property. And Property is unlike anything that's ever hit the market. I give you my word on that, by the way. We're going to go through some people, you know how like in the game of real estate, you have the Robert Kiyosaki's, right? And then he trains a bunch of people, and then through those people, other people come under them. And then, I came after some people, and then I trained a bunch of folks that you guys now kind of watch on social media. We'll go through some of that here. But what I brought to the real estate industry was framework and scalability. That's what I was able to bring. And obviously, I started including tech. It's what I wanted to accomplish because I came from a corporate background of 12 plus years. What I wanted to accomplish, I didn't want to I didn't want to be a slave like every other investor. For me, it wasn't sexy to be swinging a hammer and taking videos of me saying, "Hey, look, right? I'm rehabbing this house and I'm gonna make 30,000 and 50,000." To me, I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to hire people to do that, right? So I came up with this concept. It's called the 4-hour work month. By the way, you guys ever heard of I think Dan Sullivan, the 4-hour work week?
Tim Ferriss, and I think he just
Tim
won up
Ferriss?
to his 4-hour work week.
4-hour work.
Just
Well,
got smacked on with a 4-hour work month.
okay.
It's not as catchy, but it's cooler.
Well, I came up with this concept of the 4-hour work month where I promised to you, for several years now, we've been making millions and millions of dollars in the game of real estate, and I literally have one meeting from 10 a.m. to 10:30, and if you calculate 30 times 4 weeks, that's about
2 hours.
2 hours. So, okay, it's an
The
hour.
30-minute
Hold
work
on.
week.
No, I think, okay, we schedule for 30, but it goes on 45 to an hour. So, yes, technically it is 4 hours.
The 1 hour work week.
So I came up with this 4-hour work month where you literally have systems, processes, departments, positions, roles, responsibilities, and they're doing everything for you, right? And that's something that as soon as I was able to really dial in on that, I started teaching people all over the country, and people started coming to my workshops and my events in Arizona. And at first, people were paying $5,000 a seat just to be there for 2 days. And then I would give them all the framework and the strategies and the systems, right? And then people started paying a lot of money for us to mentor them. And then I am very happy to let you guys know that on Friday at noon will be my last mentorship call in the past 5 years. 110 people that are actively in that specific group, right? It's my last mentorship call ever in my life. The only people that I will ever mentor moving forward are going to be people that
Part of
that
property.
become partners of ours.
Yes.
You know, so with that being said, I just wanted to kind of lay that on you guys so you guys know exactly what we're talking about here. And by the way, you guys could have a seat. Can they have a seat?
You guys are allowed to see.
Unless you guys want to stretch and all that, right?
Hey, real quick, I'm just curious. I don't know if our AV team is actually set up for this, but Carlos will be back in a couple of days, and some of you in the room actually know what this is. Does anyone know what this is? Does the AV team know what this is? Oh, there's something really weird that happens when you know how they always say, don't touch the red button? I'm just such a rule breaker. They said, what color do you want the button to be? I said, red. So I just want to see what happens.
What is that?
It's kind of magical.
Press the button.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay.
I'm going to have you push the button.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has
Should
no,
I?
guys, he has never.
I really have no idea.
He has no idea. He has no idea. Don't push.
I better not. I don't know what's going to happen.
I would
All
be
right,
nervous. I would be nervous too.
I don't know what's going to happen. Like confetti's going to come down. Balloons are coming. What's going That's amazing. Wow.
All right. Guys, Carlos said take a seat.
You need a, what is it called, a decibel meter?
Yes.
Yeah, you need one of those.
We breaking that.
You guys broke 100 for sure.
So,
Wow.
can I set the stage a little bit?
Please do.
Over the last 5 years, I have had on my podcast and my YouTube channel everyone from Cody Sperber and Jerry Norton and different people that play a game called wholesaling and some of them flipping. Is everyone clear on the difference of wholesaling and flipping? In a nutshell, and I'm going to butcher this just real quick, it looks like this. I found a good deal. I sent over some paperwork. I got a signature. And then I waved it to some people over here. And then I just assigned the contract to them. And then they wired me 30 grand. Never bought the property. Certainly didn't do any fix-up or rehab. And this is called wholesaling. It's a very real game. And every person that I have interviewed, some of them students of this man, literally make millions of dollars a year playing this game. You have to have access to really good deals, and then you have to have great systems for tying those up and negotiate them, and then you have to have a market to go to basically relist them. And without the house ever being sold, you're basically just saying, ooh, I found a deal for a discount. I got it so good that I waved it to some investors, and they snatched it and paid me some money. That is the most rudimentary way that I can explain this. And here's what's going on in my mind. Over the years, I've been interviewing people like this. And I was looking for a partner. I said, one of these days, I'm going to find the person that I'm going to do something with. And I was like trying to find a Rob Gill after a decade. I found problems with these people. And I also was dealing with some private jealousy. You see, the benefits of buy and hold is that we're in a long game. And you're going to wake up in 20 years and you're going to have a lot of properties and you're going to be rich. And you're going to have crazy cash flow and you're not going to pay taxes on any of it. And then you're not going to liquidate because your ROIs have compounded something so astronomical. You're now earning, 1,200% a year on your original dollar, 4,200% on your original dollar. So you're like, well, that's stupid to sell it. I guess we'll just never pay taxes and keep increasing our cash flow every year. And a decade later, you wake up and boom, the portfolio tripled. And it's like, shoot, this is how people become billionaires. The next generation is going to have it so good. Our trust is just jacked. That's my world. It's cool when you wake up one day and that's your world. Here's what's cool on this side of the fence. Yeah, we're flipping about 5 to 10 deals a month. We're averaging about $20,000 on each one of them. So, we're making good 6 figures every single month. I don't get that over here. But over here, these people say, man, I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm living high on the horse and I'm making a pile of money, but I got nothing to show. And here you have the ultimate dichotomy in the game of real estate. The buy and holders, the long play, the stalwarts. And the people that are getting rich and living rich and making lots of money, but not having any assets. And I always thought to myself, man, it would be so cool. Be kind of cool if you could find, let's just say theoretically, like someone that was really good at buy and hold and had mastered it, like done like $2 billion worth of deals and like gotten like the highest ROIs and mechanized it, turned it into a machine. It'd be so cool if that person could find the ultimate person that plays the same way in the wholesaling and flipping arena. And that's what went down a few months ago when our friendship went to another level and we realized we have an opportunity to dominate a real estate franchise industry that currently only has 2 9-figure valuation companies that do not have the tools, the manpower, the resources, the technology, or comparably, the advantages that we both have together.
They're dinosaurs. We actually would sell deals to them, and all the people that we train would sell deals to them.
Are you starting to get a little bit of feeling for what Property sounds like it might be? So I would love to create a tribe of people that want to make a lot of money wholesaling real estate, but balancing it with growing their portfolios. Because it looks a little like this. Well, we're making, tens of thousands of dollars a month and potentially considerably more. And with some of that money, guess what we do over here? We buy the very best deals and we hold them. And it's a world that says real estate can give you a lot of money and it can give you all the long-term crazy winnings. We would be combining generational wealth with today wealth. And usually you have to pick one or the other. You just don't get both.
It's true. By the way, this is the first time that Chris and I present this to the world, and that's why we're so excited that, he literally chose this specific group to present this to. We both have communities. I have thousands of people. You were there at my event that, right? They haven't seen this yet. They don't even know what's going on yet.
No, it's
all. Go ahead.
I was saying there's just a handful of people that know about it until after tonight.
And that same event that you spoke at, I'm throwing that event again in July, and we will be presenting this again. So that's how much care this man has for you guys specifically, because when we were putting this together, he literally said, "Hey man, if we're gonna get this done, we have to present it to my tribe. We have to present it to my tribe." To the point, right, where it went from like, we have to present it to my tribe, do you want to zoom in? And I said, no, if your tribe is that special, how about I fly in? And I literally flew in. His driver picked me up at 2-something, drove me here. After I'm done speaking here, we're going back to Salt Lake and I'm catching a 8:50 flight. So that's how much this meant to both of us, that I decided to leave my family and my businesses to come here and show up, not only for Chris but for you guys, because that's how special and important this was for him to present this to you guys. So I'm actually so excited to get this going for him.
Let me tell you what I think the 3 wins are that we're targeting here. Generational wealth, today wealth, and then the third is most important. With the systems and technology that we bring together, we believe in absentee ownership. Absentee ownership means that I want you to have the money and the time, because real freedom is defined by both. So, team, if you could do me a favor and have Ryan or Bryce or whoever use the clock the way it's intended, that will keep me on track. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Profitly here. Profitly combines the world's most powerful real estate investment strategies with highly automated systems enabling investors to generate active income while building legacy wealth with minimal owner involvement. And honestly, when you pair those 3 together, it's like, that's got to be a little too good to be true. And this is how we define real freedom. You've got to have ongoing active income right now, but you got to be building something huge for the future, and you got to have time. And, here's how perfect this win is. I once had Tony Robbins describe in business. He said, if you compete in business, your aim should be to be the best, because that's what will push innovation and progress forward. And he says, if you want to be the best, you have to pick one of 3 categories to be the best in. You either are the best value, you're the cheapest, or you're the fastest. You can be one of those 3. If you're really crazy special, you might be 2 of the 3, but no one on the planet except for one company is all 3. It's just too hard to find an opportunity that merges all 3. Now, there is one company, and they are the largest company on the planet, and that is Amazon. And because they found a way to work all 3. Well, I think in the game of real estate, we found a way to have our cake and eat it too and consume no calories. Mixing multiple analogies, and none of them make sense. So, guys, real estate to this crew is not news. I mean, we know that there's a lot of famous people out there that are crushing it in the game of real estate. It's definitely how 90% of people become millionaires in the game. But right now, we believe this is that once-in-a-decade opportunity to make unprecedented returns, because we've got crazy timing in the market. And ultimately, we know that we have a struggling economy. And in the game of real estate, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a very, very good thing. Sophisticated investors, they know it's the time to buy. So we've got real estate prices that have corrected after 10 years. Cap rates are at record lows. We have heavily discounted properties. And both of our sides of the fence thrive the most in an economy like this. When things are looking up, we do great. When things are looking down, we explode. We are counter-cyclical. So not only is it the right partnership coming together in the right company, but it is also really perfect timing in the economy.
By the way, can I add something to that? It's no coincidence that institutional buyers have, I don't know if you guys have seen how aggressive they've been buying single-family homes, by the way, for the last 2 to 3 years. They now technically own 3% of all the single-family homes in the country, and their plan by 2040 is to actually own 40% of single-family residents in the country. And does anybody know what these institutional buyers are doing with those properties that they're buying? Does anybody know? Where was that? Well, actually, they're doing one thing and one thing only. They're renting them out. They're buying homes that gives them 1% rental return. Like if they buy a house for $300,000, that house has to be able to rent for $3,000 a month. And when I tell you that these folks are buying properties, and there's a strong possibility that they may never, these properties that they're purchasing may never be back on the market for any of us, right, to be able to own these assets. That's what they're doing. So they're playing a long game, by the way, and it's a little scary if you ask me, because the only alternative that we have at this point to even compete is going to be development, you know? So when Chris is saying that it is literally a race, yes, we have to get active, we have to be proactive, and we have to be just as aggressive because nobody here even understands the rate that these people are buying these properties. And by the way, they're coming back. So a lot of people call them hedge funds. These hedge funds are coming back during quarter two. You're going to see a ramp up in quarter two like you probably haven't seen in a very long time. There's a reason why one of the biggest funds, who was it, Blackstone, raised 50 bill? What was
50 on top of the 4 that they've just been deploying.
Yeah,
50
exactly.
billion more.
These properties, they're absorbing these properties, and they're never going to release them back to the general consumer. And that's a little scary. That's actually, I don't know about you, but I kind of consider that a monopoly. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think that actually takes away opportunity from people and gets them out of the zone of the American dream of home ownership. Right now, when you take a look at a person's assets at retirement, what is greater, their retirement savings or the equity in their home? So what happens if you take that away? This generation is already 5 times poorer than 2 generations prior. And now in 20 years, on top of that, we're going to be removing more than half of their net worth. So it is scary and it feels dystopian. And what we want to do is we want to create a resurgence of excitement for people, everyday human beings, to be able to play and own real estate and provide real estate and take that monopoly down. So ultimately, what we're going to do is actually, when I say buy and hold and I say wholesale, it's really good to lump these together as wholesale fix and flip. And here's the difference. Carlos has a system that can say, hey, we found a $250,000 valued home and it's in serious disrepair and we can pick it up for $120,000. How many of you think it's cool to buy homes at 50 cents on the dollar? Yeah, and then you have to make a choice. Well, I could wholesale it and, make quick $20,000 or $30,000
in 21 days.
In 21 days.
Yeah.
Or I could hold on to it for the next 2 or 3 months, put some money into it, and maybe make $50,000 or $60,000, and then just becomes a game of mathematically which one makes more sense. And so wholesaling is trading paper. Fix and flip is where you're actually dispositioning the property by rehabbing it and then re-putting it in the market because it might make more sense. And so you got these 2 strategies. You got buy and hold, and we want to redefine the real estate game because I don't know anyone that plays both. You just pick a side and you get the benefit of your side. And this is where we think this marriage could be really, really powerful.
This recent downturn, I don't know, is anybody investing in real estate actively right now? Do we got any fix and flippers in here? Has anybody ever done a wholesale deal in here? 1 back there, right? 2, okay, great. Well, when this downturn happened, my organization, we didn't run for the hills. We didn't run for the hills. Do you guys know why we didn't run for the hills? Because the way that we acquire properties are so discounted, and by the way, they're all off-market discounted properties. So the way that we acquire properties, it's so off-market, it's so discounted that when this downturn began to happen of 5, 10, 15%, even 20% in some areas, what we did was we dropped, as the interest rates went up, man, we completely just tanked our pricing because our average equity position with most of these flips, right? These are wholesales that we said, you know what, we're going to flip it. We're going to go ahead and rehab it and flip it. It was about 72.3%. So we had this huge margin to play with where people back in 08 and some people this time around, they were in pretty bad shape. Not us. What we did was, okay, interest rates are going up. Everybody, things are getting a little tough. You know what? Why don't we become the cheapest property in the neighborhood and the best looking property in the neighborhood? And that formula allowed us to move those units very quickly without having to be stuck with deals. Does anybody understand that? The fact that we are in such this beautiful equity position allowed us to say, hey, it's okay, I get it. There's a lot of hardship going on with some of the other investors, but the fact of the matter is not only the way that we do business, but the way that we showed some of our people to do business, we were cruising. All we did was offload aggressively and then reload aggressively. That's all we did. So that was actually a huge highlight for our, our organization. We had properties in Vegas, California, and Arizona. We weren't worried. And you know what we were going to do? You know what we were going to do? Worst case scenario with these properties, if we couldn't aggressively price them and move them, what do you think we were going to do with these properties? We were already turning them into rentals. We're like, pfft, the return on the investment was so ridiculous. We were like, not worried about it. Imagine going through these type of scenarios or economical times and not even stressing about it. How much more offense can you play instead of, oh man, scattering around and man, I got to move this because I'm upside down 70,000. I'm gonna lose 50K on this deal. Not us. Not the way that we acquire properties. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with them.
And I'll say this all sounds really good, but how many of you know that what we do in buy and hold is crazy difficult with all of our systems, right? You on your own versus with our team. What's the difference? For starters, 342 hours on every single deal. Just think about that. But on their side of the fence, they've built the same type of automation, the same type of system. So I'm excited to show this to you. This is, by the way, you're welcome to take pictures of this. It's for private use. You get to have this. This is the biggest problem that we're solving in the real estate investor community. We're saying, stop fighting against each other, stop being at odds with each other, and actually just start playing both sides and winning aggressively. Because you can have the short-term income while you're playing this game, and you can have the legacy wealth building all at the exact same time. So we're basically the first company out there. I always love to say we have two competitors in the franchise space, and Carlos says, no, we don't. And he's right. There are only two companies, and they represent a very dinosaur approach to wholesale. It's all manual. There's no tech. There's no automation, and it's a grind. And you're paying for a franchise to grind, and we don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. You don't believe in that. So we say, you know what? We're the first to say you can do it all. We're going to empower you. We're going to give you tools and resources, and it's about time. Making potentially millions per year in short-term income through wholesaling fix and flips, simultaneously using that to do buy and holds and building a portfolio to generate legacy wealth, fully passive, the Crone way, using our strategies, automation, resources, and support to make it as hands-off as possible. And it is amazing how close we are to literally almost just pushing buttons. Over 85% of the entire process, fully automated. And that is something that just doesn't exist in the market. So this whole real freedom, this is very real what we're talking about. Now, our game-changing software and automation saves you time, and it is about unlocking the path to real freedom. So we provide each investor with highly automated, turnkey real estate business strategies, best-in-class support, and it's a hands-on owner-operator to hands-off business owner approach. You all understand that what I was telling John earlier today, same exact thing. Brother, you keep adding hustles, you keep adding income, but you keep adding hours. So you have to figure out how to hand that off to somebody to free up your time again. You can free up 40 hours a year W-2, but guess what your next number 2 goal is? I didn't say it on stage. You know what it is? It's to hand off and reclaim the other 20 hours and still keeping 90% of the income. There's always a way to keep 90% of the money by letting go of 10% of the money. And if you can't feel good about a 10-to-1 arbitrage, then their fear and the scarcity is just too much in your DNA, and you got to get a little bit of breakthrough with the Breakthrough Foundation and get rid of some of that garbage. All right, so we've got basically done with you and done for you methodologies, and this definitely changes what the game looks like when you enter this. And I want to give you just a little bit of an idea of what this is. In this franchise model, you might have a budget of $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, and it's maneuvering through an automated system to ultimately generate leads. This is what this man and his team is brilliant at. Then they have teams that will actually take your leads, rate your leads, qualify your leads, basically deliver on the front porch a really good deal that is vetted, and you have to just take a few more steps and then the deal's done. And inside that model, we'll get to some of the names that have been crushing it. And we're not talking about 1 or 2 people that became really successful from this. We're talking about some of the top names in Carlos's space on social media that are dominating. And yet he's the Wizard of Oz. He's behind the curtain. Except right now he's come out and he's ready to change the game. So it is about enabling investors to maximize success by using all 3 of these strategies, from wholesale fix and flip to buy and hold. And we're not going to go into a lot of detail, but you're welcome to grab a picture with your phones. I see many of you are, because that's a lot of words to read. And you can read too. 3, 2, click. All right. All right. Property is the first and best comprehensive turnkey real estate solution. And I love this graph because it helps you understand the multi-strategy compared to the single strategy, the automated hands-off to the manual. And what it does is it helps you understand our two, what I call competitors that Carlos will not concede, is HomeVestors and Keegly, both with 9-figure valuations. Keegly, 9 figures and growing. And what you do is you buy a franchise, and then you play this game. Uber, hyper, ancient, archaic, dino, hustle, 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 manual work. True or false?
Yeah, I actually wanted to share something about this. Before Zillow started buying homes, I believe that their operations is out of Seattle. We were the one wholesale slash fix and flip organization that they beta tested with. I don't know if you knew that.
I don't know.
This was around 2018. For 1 year, it was funny. Zillow and specifically beta tested with our organization because they couldn't believe how we were acquiring these properties. And they beta tested with out of anybody they could have worked with in the country, and I got the emails to prove it, right? We literally every single week we would just submit this like these properties to them, and they would just handpick, boom, boom, boom. And then what they were doing was they were gathering all this data from us before they actually went on the market and started acquiring properties themselves. Well, guess what? That didn't turn out very well for them. I don't know if you knew this, right? They took a pretty massive loss here over the past 12 to 24 months. I think they actually lost an average of about $2,500 per property. You multiply that times thousands of units, you got yourself a pretty bad situation. So again, they tested with us for a year, and they still couldn't get it down. You know what I mean?
100%.
One more thing. And I know we were pressed for time. OfferPad, we were doing so well, and we had a company called OfferKey. OfferKey.com. We were doing so well with OfferKey to the point where OfferPad sued us, and that was a 2-year battle. And guess what? They got a little more money than us, so we had to eventually say, okay, all right, we will completely get rid of the website, and we won't launch another website. They made us shut down OfferKey because we were competing. They're like, wait a minute, we got all this institutional money, but you are a private company, but you have all these strategies that we don't, and now you're competing in the market with us. Because at that specific time, we were actually wholesaling in about 28 different markets. So eventually they're like, we're not going to go after anybody else that has the word offer, but we're going to go after OfferKey, who is ran by these guys, which was us. And that was a 2-year battle, and eventually we just had to, would you continue on a bleeding situation with OfferPad? You know that at the end they're just going to bleed you out. You know what I mean?
100%. So Property is going to be offered as a franchise to compete against the 2 other real estate franchises, but we're offering multiple strategies, and we're offering technology, and we're adding done for you. And I have to say, you all know and appreciate so much of what we do in our real estate system. When you dive in and see the tech and the SaaS behind what they have, man, I have to say, for a guy who's in love with delegation, who loves scaling, hats off. They really crushed it on their side too. It makes for a really beautiful marriage. And in fact, I just got to say, Carlos, I'm glad that we're sharing the stage right now because I think what we're about to launch is really cool. Guys, give it up for Carlos. So excited for his accomplishments, his team, what you created. It's super meaningful.
Thank you.
And so what we can tell you is that the franchise is not ready and available for the market. And this communication tool that, with you, this is going in our Audacity Venture Fund. And this will be one of the last plays that we put in that fund over the course of its year that will be ending at the end of April. And this is one that we're really excited about. Let me share with you some of the things that I think are really cool here.
Can I ask everybody a question, by the way?
Please.
By the way, who thinks that what we are putting together here and what we're bringing onto the marketplace is going to be completely revolutionary? And
It's going to be awesome. So here's
agree.
the
Thank you.
business. So I want you to put on your hat called, I own a piece of property, the corporate level. By the way, is that cool? Franchise is cool. I think it's going to be incredible. But remember the ROIs when we talked yesterday, Fast Track? What is the benefit to a single franchise owner? It's big. What is the benefit to a master franchise owner? It's huge. What is the benefit to the company that franchises? Astronomical. That's what we're talking about. We're putting on that hat right now. Make sense? So put on your property owner hat. And where's Mecky? Is Mecky in the room? Mecky, do you happen to have, when I say put on your property corporate hat, I didn't even show these to Carlos because I had these whipped up overnight.
I actually saw them.
Did you see this?
Yeah, it's amazing.
This is for you.
I thought you said you weren't going to be able to get it done in time.
Well, Mecky's kind of amazing. Mecky,
I know.
do you have a few more of those? How many of those do you have? Do you maybe have like 135 of them? Oh, then pass them out. Pass them out. Pass them out. Pass them down the line. All right. So you're going to put on your property corporate hat, which we paid a little bit of money for that really sick logo. I think it's a $1 billion logo.
Are you going to put your hat on?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to mess up my hair.
Who thinks he should mess up his hair? There it is.
Give me a hat, Mecky.
The people have decided.
You know, there's a couple things you just don't mess with, and you broke one of those rules. All right.
I did that on purpose, by the way. You saw that.
I know.
Yeah.
Did you see right
I'm like,
there?
if I'm going to mess up my
He's messing with
curls,
friendship.
right?
Messing with friendship.
This guy's messing up his hair.
All right. So here's the business model. Franchises, depending on the size of an area, maybe under 100,000 or might be over. Those details are still forthcoming. This is a placeholder. The franchise royalties is what is exciting about this business. In the real estate industry, sharing 20% to the provider of all of the technology, the provider of all of the SaaS, the entire automation and system, this falls into that realm of, oh yeah, that's super, super reasonable. And so that means that when someone wholesales a deal and makes $15,000, then $3,000 of that comes to the company. And that means that if they're wholesaling a deal for $50,000, $10,000 goes back to the company. This company has a large valuation play, but it is a really huge cash play, as in distributable profits are going to be meaningful. That's a good word, meaningful. We'll call it meaningful. If I have to wear my hat, you have to wear your hat. Not Matthew, do you have hair thing too with me? I know, but bro, listen, come on. Seriously, I'm just going to wait. The beanie comes off right now. Okay. All right. So on our buy and hold, 50% of the real estate portfolio is owned by the company. And then whether it's a fix and flip or a wholesale, 20% on disposition of profits. And we're literally running the whole process. These people will have the ability to do volume as franchise owners that they can't do manually. And we're doing the entire process in a manner where we provide so much value that if they ever dare try to do it on their own, their volume would drop dramatically and crash. And so it really creates a symbiotic relationship, which is what you want for a strong franchise setup, where you really need each other. You don't just go to the training and say, peace out, I'm going to do this on my own. Please do. Without these tools and resources, you'll feel foolish. And money talks, and there's going to be a lot less of it. So they're definitely going to want the tools and the resources. Tonight, unfortunately, we don't have Sal here. And I have to say, this man, beautiful soul, who is Carlos's business partner, and there's so many other members of our teams that are actually represented in this. When Carlos flew in, we circled the wagons around all of our teams. We really believe between the two of us, we really have what it takes to take down the industry in a really powerful way. And I'm super excited about that. Will you tell us something about these names right here that are super recognizable? Guys, take a picture of this and Google these people on social media and be like, dang, Carlos trained those people, and those people are basically saying, I'm the man. I'm like, well.
And to me, to me, it's never been about, I have testimonials and videos it's never been about that. Actually, one specific gentleman here, we were running a testimonial ad, and he called us and said, "Hey, can you not run the testimonial of me?" And we've never been into that game of like, "Hey, let's just freaking show our chest here and let everybody know that all these people came from us." Right? That's never been our game. I think God has His own way of taking care of things, and hence here we are. Right?
Well, Jim Dew actually says that I wear a medium and I'm trying to show off my chest. And I was very offended and put off by that, Jim. Very.
He's probably right. But so I I want you guys to know that
Does someone have a sweater?
Chris Crone is not a stupid man. I want to say that. Chris Crone is not. I wanted to put Chris Crone in stupid, but in a good way, right? So Chris Crone is not a stupid man. This guy, he definitely, before he launched a potential, God willing, and it is because I'm not going to accept anything less. Before he launched a 9-figure venture, he had to make sure that we actually had the credibility and track record. Does anybody understand that? Right? He's like, I'm not just gonna and we dated for a little bit, and then we got into bed with each other. Please don't vision that, right? Like, don't imagine that, please, right? And he had to make sure that we never told him, hey, this is who we are. We never said that. Those are things that he kind of had to find out, and he has a couple snipers that run with him. Trent's here somewhere too, right? He had to do his due diligence without us ever saying, hey, this is who we are, this is what we've done, this is what we're about, this is this is who we are, this is who we're not. And that's how this kind of happened. He did his due diligence before we took this step. And I just want to say, like, what I'm so excited about is because Sal and I were able to be pioneers and revolutionize the wholesale and fix and flip space back in 17 and 18. Well, here we are, right, becoming pioneers again. And that makes us and that's growth for you, right? It's like, okay, we were pioneers of this, and then we taught everybody, and everybody caught on, and everybody's, doing to what their capacity is. And then now we're doing this. Right, and it's funny that you had something up there for 150K. People are going to buy franchises at 100, 150K. Well, I can tell you this. He also mentioned that your average company does about 5 to 10 deals. Personally, if you're not really performing well, you're doing like 5 to 10 deals. You know what I mean? Because everything is so structured with the marketing strategies and the systems and the processes that it's very difficult not to win. And that's why we've had the track record and the success rate that we've had, because it's for the past 10 years, it's what we've been doing, and we've been teaching it for 7 years. And again, I would say the scoreboard kind of speaks for itself, you know what I mean?
100%. I know every one of these individuals here. I've done dinner with most of them. I've shared stage with them. And when I learned that all of their modern success that people accoladed them for was actually yours, I was like, wow, you're kind of the modern godfather of this group of wholesalers in this generation. And if we're just getting a little bit painfully honest, can we get a little painfully honest?
Yeah.
Since you put my name and stupid in the same sentence. I'm excited for Carlos to be actually ending that program this week, because for him the pain is I charge people, I train them, and then they go and have this great success. And that's a great model, and that has really served him. But there's also a part in that says my model is not perfect because I'm getting burnt out. And the number of people that actually use this model, guys, we're not talking about making $100,000 or $200,000 a year.
No.
That is not the way this model works. And
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, in this game, when you learn how to do this, you will meet, you'll meet person after person after person that is making $500,000 a year, $2 million a year, and certainly more than that. And so people that have systems for this, it's amazing. Fortunately, the technology that Carlos privately uses has not been licensed, has not been released, and it's about to basically get shut up inside Profitable in a really, really powerful way. This is a $2.1 trillion market opportunity. When you take a look at existing home sales, and then you take a look at the housing rental market, this is a beautiful market in the United States for us to play in. And while our competitors, one of them has a $400+ million valuation, the other one about half of that. We look at their growth. We've got insider information on their systems, what they're doing, and Carlos has described it well. There's certainly no vibrato in saying that they have ancient, simple, manual, work hard, pitchfork processes, and we're just going to steamroll in a really, really harsh way. As people start saying, wow, there's a really huge difference. So here's what our target is by the third year, is that we are targeting $50 million in revenue. The reality is, Carlos, if 3 years from now...
That's very conservative.
What's that?
That's very conservative.
Those are very kind words compared to what you said to me in private when we discussed this number.
Oh.
Let's leave it at that. I asked Carlos, I said, hey, how much do we need to do in our first year launch for you to feel, that this was successful? And when we started talking about these numbers, he got very upset at me. The reality is, Carlos and I are really interesting twins, right? There's a massive Hispanic community that resonates very deeply with him, and very few of those reach my audience. And I do this really great thing on organic social media, but he's playing a very different media and networking game than my strategies. And so when we looked at our marketing teams and size of markets, it was almost like, wow, if we merge these two together, this is going to be superhuman huge. And we both have really great relationships with a lot of the real estate gurus in the industry. And we're developing all the ways for them to want to dump in and play because, this is not fair what I'm about to say, but they're kind of whores. That's a rude term. They'll do anything for money in that mindset that many of them play, and that was also unfair. They really like affiliate models a lot, and a lot of them will take their entire tribes and dump them into a system that really has ongoing payouts. We're pretty bullish on the fact that we believe that we can corner the market by finding a way to play nicely in the sandbox with all the competitors, by sharing with them profit-sharing models, pieces of the long-term equity growth, basically share. And we know that there's an appetite that if we share a certain amount, then it becomes a feeding frenzy. Yeah. And if there's something I really like Panic at the Disco that broke up last week. It's very sad. It's a fantastic music group, and we'll always have Mona Lisa, but they broke up. I don't know if you knew that.
Who?
We're going to create... We're going to create a Panic.
Did you say Nickelback?
No.
Who did you?
No one admits to listening to Nickelback. So simply to say that we've got some really exciting goals on what we want to do here. And what's really cool about this one is, of every business I've ever shared with you, there's always a marketing strategy, and none of those are, let's use Chris Crone social media. In this one, we're taking all of my marketing power, and we're taking all of Carlos's marketing power and combining forces. Year one should be explosive. It's not going to be small.
God willing.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So we're very excited about it. So we are shooting for a strong valuation over that 3-year period of time. That conservative number shows us at $120 million. I think the exciting part is the monthly reoccurring revenue that comes in off of this, because imagine every franchise owner focusing on closing several deals every single week. And so it's really a beautiful system. And some of you don't know, but in a past life, I owned 2 MLMs over the course of 10 years. And while this is certainly not an MLM, a franchise model is, in my mind, played best when franchise owners can play together, compete against each other, razz each other, cooperate, throwing out awards. This is a group of people that like to win Lamborghinis. And I think that it is going to be a really fun, this avatar of people are going to have a blast, and we are going to throw a party, and we're going to make it really, really, really fun for them. So the hardest part of this was, even up until, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I didn't know if I'd be presenting this to you, because we had a very long conversation. Carlos, remember when I called you and I said, hey, we could go fastest if we raise a little bit of money for this. Mm-hmm. And your initial
I was
response,
opposed to it.
you're very opposed to it because you said, Chris, you got money, I got money, we don't need a lot of money. This is our lane. Why would we do this? But ultimately, we decided that we wanted to bring the opportunity here. And I'm curious, I'm just going to put you on the spot, it's the way we play. What was your biggest compelling reason for actually saying, you know what, let's make this available?
Well, first and foremost, Sal and I, we own and operate 12 different companies and different industries, right? So we've never had to raise money because of wholesaling and fix and flipping. All that active income that was coming in, we just started launching other ventures and buying other companies. So we've never had the need, right? So I said, this is new, right? To have to raise, to want to raise money, right? Because we don't have to. I said, to want to raise money, I've never actually done that before for any of the ventures that I own and operate, So the biggest reason for me is when you said, hey, we can get there faster if we not only throw our money at it, but if we give the opportunity for other folks to partake in this venture, and you and I actually set out this framework, right? This will be a much more successful and bigger and quicker launch. So you managed to convince me to do it, and you didn't manipulate me, you didn't, you just.
That he's aware of, folks.
Yeah, you you put it on the table, and at first, my COO and my business partner and myself, we were like, why? We're good. This is going to be such a huge deal, monumental, right? And we don't really need to we don't have to share shares with other people. But when you put it in the terms of, framework and scalability and launch and speed, that's when I said, okay, that makes sense. We'll do it your way.
Right. So by the way, you can thank him that we're talking about this here if you think that this is a cool company to be a part of.
Thank you.
For just a second, I have to put on my Investor Club hat because there are two really cool principles that I want to highlight. The first one is we've never needed to raise money because we had a cash cow. One of my principles in life is that you need to own a company that you own 100% of, so you don't have any shareholders, so that you can abuse the snot out of it. And what I mean by that is you don't have to provide clean books to a shareholder. If you want, you can write off your plane and your car, and you can do the Augusta rule on executive leases on your house, and you can do whatever you want, and shareholders can't raise an eyebrow because they don't exist. Everyone needs a cash cow. You need a machine that prints you money. Does everyone get this? And here's the definition. It's not a W-2. It's something where you're like, we need more heat. Throw some coal and throw some wood on there, and let's make a bigger fire and get more money. That's what a cash cow is. Every time this man needs money, he's like, crank it up a little bit, and let's do 20 more wholesale deals. Here's the $400,000. Let's go. This is how he funds his life. So I just want to be really clear. His success from his cash cow, was not just funding real estate. What was he funding? 12 businesses in total. And I think there's a takeaway that's really important there. The second lesson that I think is also, I want to go just a little deeper into this. It's like, why would we share? And he talks about speed, but there's a second rule that's important to me. I care about compound interest and velocity. So it's not just about getting to the market 3 months faster or 9 months faster. That's one factor. But how do you actually spin more streams of income and more plates? If you're always trying to bootstrap and use your own money and self-fund, you're playing the lone wolf game. And it means that your world could look like this. And I'm going to use it in terms of Carlos, and it's not fair because these numbers are fake and illustrative. Well, Chris, if I self-fund, I can now have 12 companies. And in 3 more years, we could have, if we wanted, 20 companies. But when you start releasing ownership, when it makes sense in the way that we're talking about here, you can open up a world that becomes limitless. And I'm far more interested in removing friction points because that creates the real speed, not just of time, but it creates the speed of everything else. I would rather, and I've heard it from Dolph DeRoos, I would rather have a slice of watermelon than own the entire grape.
I like grapes. But I like watermelon a little more.
So, Property is about unlocking real freedom. To wrap it up, it unlocks the path to real freedom by enabling real estate investors to generate both active income, build legacy wealth with minimal owner involvement. When you learn what this means, friends, this is really real. This isn't, well, you're going to have to put 40 to 60 hours a week in, and then you're going to have to hire a manager. The software and the other tools are actually doing the working. Behind the business, you've got Carlos, you've got Sal, you have myself. And guys, as you've even met my team, and I've got people on Carlos's team, I'm like, actually, it's great to name these three people, but we are backed by some really awesome, amazing folks.
Smarter people.
Yeah, that just
Much
really
smarter.
cause things.
In Chris's case, much, much smarter.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's up here frying me all the time. I got to give a little back, right?
Yeah. And I might be the dumbest person in the room, but I surround myself with the smartest people. Thank you, Carlos, for increasing
You got a whole
my...
clan here, so I'm not even going to argue with you. I don't want to get jumped.
So here's what we're going to do. What's going to happen is this QR... Now, you don't even know what the... You don't know what the thing is for yet. Let me just... Oh, shoot. I broke it. Can you make it go back to the thing? Thanks.
Here, we'll just cover it up there.
So, there's a couple things. There's a couple things that we need to do first. The first thing I need you to do is I need you to stand up with your hat on. Carlos, come over here.
Oh, there it is. Is this a picture or video?
Yes. Make some noise! All right.
That was good. Can you send me that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's what's going on. Property is going to be joining the Audacity Venture Fund. We're really excited about it, and it's going to be awesome. And we know that when Carlos comes back from teaching his last boot camp, hooray, that he will be flying back here at UFD, and their presentation is not going to be this presentation. This was the, let's own a piece of property. But in a couple of days at UFD, what he'll be doing is coming back, and he'll be sharing this image, and this is saying, if you're interested in owning a franchise or a master franchise of property, click that link, get in line. We are not ready for you. The reason why we're sharing this with you is because we are corporate-wise constructively ready for you. And this is something that is going to be releasing as soon as possible. Here's the cool part. Do we have to, Carlos, build any systems to release this? Do we have to build new IP? Do we have to create new widgets? What we're doing is we're reskinning, we're rebranding, and we're merging. And we're out in the world. Everything already exists. It's just making sure that it looks pretty. So this is something that will be coming soon, the spring of this year. And we're going to be ready with a list of people that are going to be interested in owning it. The conversation for you today is an opportunity to actually own a piece of the company. And friends, that is property.
By the way, last question. My driver's been out there for 15 minutes. I got to get back to the airport here, but are you guys as excited as Chris and I about this? Yeah. For real, right? This is, brother, this is one of those monumental, right? Monumental ventures, man, that just changes the game in every way.
Our community is made up of probably 100 to 250 players, and we are going to make waves, and we're going to say, play with us. We can make this our company experience. Yeah. And in this decade, in this generation, in the game of real estate, this will definitely be, for real estate investors, a household name. It's property. We're going to open it up for a little bit of Q&A for any questions that you might have. So have a seat. Carlos, how many minutes can I have you before you skedaddle?
how far is the drive from here to? Okay, 40. Okay,
45.
coming out in 10. Boom, done.
Guys, 10 minutes of Carlos. Ask some really good questions. Let's see what we got. We're going to start with Ernesto. Then we're going to come over here next for the other mic runner.
By the way, my first question before the gentleman here asks a question: has anybody ever dug into wholesaling and fix and flipping in that space? Has anybody ever heard or seen from me personally, Carlos Reyes, or All In Nation? Raise your hand. You? Here? Excuse me? That's the one Real Estate Disruptors. Yeah, with Steve Train 3 times. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else? Brother, what have you seen or heard from our organization and everything we've done in the wholesale / fix and flip space?
Well, so from what I've heard, because I knew of you a little bit in the past, and then I heard from someone who in Arizona who also knows you, but your heart, really. It was more of a personal thing, not much of the success.
Wasn't about,
part.
okay, great. That's
It was your
better,
heart.
man.
It was your heart
Thank
and
you.
how you love helping people, and
Thank
how
you.
much you love, your core values with God.
Thank you, brother. Absolutely. Man, that's not... Wait, you got a question too, right? Thank you, by the way. Right? Don't sit. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a question that you might not know now, but how soon will the master territories be available?
So this is what we are going to discuss is we definitely want to actually put limits, right? Specific franchisees or number of franchisees in specific markets for sure, because our systems are so powerful and they're so dialed in that you can't just throw 20 people in one market. You know what I mean? I mean, they'll definitely be the cream of the crop in that market, but they'll be taken away from each other. So we have to discuss that, right? But the one thing that I will tell you is this: we want to try to get this going by March. So we're talking 30 to 60 days here, and he keeps joking with me about like, oh yeah, next year, 2025. I'm like, what? No, man, this thing's ready to roll. You know what I mean? Everything is set. Everything is ready to go. And what I will tell you is this: what I'm most proud of is our success rate in the past 7 years, because there's a lot of people out there in real estate that teach but don't do. Right? Do you guys understand that? In my opinion, what makes an individual or an organization very, very powerful and lethal is people that can teach it and they're actively doing it. You know what I mean? That's just like, you mentioned something earlier about relevance. Remember? You said, hey, I like to surround myself with people that teach or mentors but are relevant. Now, I don't want the Michael Jordan from right now, 2023. I want the Michael Jordan from 98 if I'm going to learn how to, put up a jump shot. You know what I mean? So I'm very excited about this because, we already have multiple 8-figure companies that do that on a yearly or annual basis. But this right here, I'm not so excited about the money that's going to come because it's going to be one of its kind. I'm excited about that, the fact that it's going to be the first of its kind, to the point where we have to really protect ourselves in every way, because what happens when something like this makes this kind of splash, right? Immediately people become threatened. Homevestors and all these other companies like, okay, who are these guys and where do they come from and what are they doing that we're not? So him and I got to get with our legal teams and make sure that we are completely good in every way. And by the way, we're good in every way, but that's just what's going to happen. I'm telling you, when I had OfferPad came after us, and we fought that battle for 2+ years. You know what I mean? With this, they can't really do anything with this, right? And we're getting it trademarked already, thank God. But I'm so excited because it's the first of its kind that actually does all three. It's active income through wholesale and fix and flip, and it's long-term wealth through buy and hold. And the beautiful part is, all of that, you become the deal finder. You are the golden goose with the golden eggs. You control the deal, and you get to do whatever you want with that deal. How exciting is that? Well, are you running to sign up or something? Where are you going? Oh, okay. I'm like, we're not signing anybody up yet, right? Okay. Ooh.
Ernesto, easy, brother.
Brother.
Okay.
DFW. That's where it's at right there.
All right, awesome. We're going to come next right over here. Then we're going to be next. We're going to come right over there. We're going to try to keep the answers to 30 seconds.
Hey.
Yep.
Hey guys, Bravo. This is so beautiful. As a contractor and a real estate agent, like this is absolutely perfect.
It's insane, right?
It's
First of its kind?
I've been waiting for the right thing, so we got that today.
How long have you been in the contracting business?
My whole life under my dad, and then I went out on my own in
You ever heard of a guy named
2002. Sorry.
You ever heard of a guy named Pace Morby?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Watch this. Pace Morby was a contractor. Then he bought into Homevestors. Then he came to my event, and then he became what? Pace Morby. You see what I'm saying? So, by the way, contractors are going to have a field day with this.
Yeah,
They're going to have a field day with this. Imagine you being a contractor, and now we show you how to actually get your own deals, off-market discounted properties. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to have a field day with this.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, as a
beautiful.
contractor, if you're controlling the deal and you're rehabbing the deal, if you bought a franchise for $150, how many deals would it take you to get your money back?
Not
Three
very
to
many.
5?
Yeah, not very many.
3 to 5. And when this is dialed in for you, that can be done in 30 days. Once this is dialed in, it could be done in 30 days. So I'm excited, man. I'm just
Okay, so my
Super
question
excited.
is, I got to ring it out because I feel like I just had 3 Red Bulls. Can I get like a first right of refusal on the very first franchise ownership?
What market are you in? What market are you in?
What do you mean?
Where do you operate? What city?
Oh, northern Utah. I'm out of Brigham City, Utah, so it's a very small.
My man over here is like, hey, just don't give them the DFW market.
Hey guys, just to be clear, we're going to answer questions about the corporate ownership opportunity, and you gotta either click the square image thingamabobs, and then we will start taking out territories.
It sounds like you're giving away like free hot bread right now.
Okay, can someone change the QR code to also say what territory you want? Jeez.
People are already like,
All right. Does someone have a question not about claiming a territory?
That was my
I
question
love
too. So
Sit down. This guy. This girl.
Look what you started, man. That's great. That's great.
I only got Carlos for 3 more minutes, so we're going to lightning round.
hey, Carlos.
Hey,
My
bro.
name's Nate. So absentee ownership is what I'm hearing in this, but then I hear fixing and flipping. That doesn't sound absentee to me. I think of contractors coming in, like my friend over here, hammers, nails, me dealing with people.
Pause.
Am I missing something?
Pause. Quick question for you, my brother. When you flip all those properties this last year, did you go to Home Depot?
Here,
Did you see the
let me
property?
do something better for you.
Okay.
I haven't spoken to a seller since 2017. If I haven't spoken to a seller since 2017, I damn sure haven't swung a hammer for much longer than that. So what we have in place, right, is it's called the asset department. And in that asset department, we have what's called an asset manager or an asset director. And then that individual, he's in charge, he's kind of a contractor, kind of like the gentleman here. He's in charge of dealing with the title, the listing realtor. He's in charge of dealing with the subcontractors. He's in charge of dealing with the private money if you get it from somewhere. He's in charge of, again, listing it and doing the Binzer and doing all that. I don't do none of that. You know what I mean? And I haven't done none of that since probably about 2015, 2016. So yeah, everything is fully automated.
So you can start to understand how revolutionary it's going to be when you say fix and flip without the work. That's definitely
It's about putting departments together, right? Systems, processes, positions, roles, responsibilities, which we've had that in place now for a very long time, and that's why we're able to teach this stuff.
Thank you. I'm in Indiana, by the way.
We don't care where you're from for the next minute. We're going to Matthew, and then we'll go right over here to Michael. Matthew, right here. Oh, actually, sorry, it was Whitney. No. Wait, same question? You guys are colluding? Nate had it. What's your question, Matthew?
He's trying to claim a territory, man.
California.
Cali, what part of Cali? I'm just joking. Hey, you guys want to hear something really cool before I leave? I flipped the property, by the way. Hey, guess what? We got it so dialed into the point where I'm flipping properties in other cities and I never even go to the house. And in my presentation on Friday, I'll show you a check about a property that I flipped in Berkeley, California, and I made $783,000 on one house. And guess what? I never flew there. I never dealt with any contractors. None of that. My asset director dealt with boots on the ground, and then he actually went out there twice, and we made 700. And I'll present a physical copy of that check. How cool is that? One house, 783K. Right? That was a good month. It was $1 million month, thank God.
Guys, we're going to continue doing a little bit of Q&A, but brother, I'm going to make sure that I get you home. Because
Let's do about 3 more minutes. I'm actually having fun with this.
Matthew?
I won't take much of your time. Thank you. This sounds like an awesome opportunity. One of my questions is, you brought up a slide where it says we're in the prime time to do this. It's going to boom because of what the real estate's doing right now, and it's coming back around. Do you see this being a business where you own for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? I mean, is this going to keep going forever?
If you look at the real estate market, it's very cyclical. It's been very cyclical for decades now, right? There was 2008, and then from 2008, in 2009, I remember I bought a property for $83K from the bank, and then I sold it in 2012 for $225 grand. You know what I mean? It was on its way up, right? And then this thing that actually happened this past year, around the 3rd and 4th quarter, this was the biggest blessing that could have happened, because organizations like ours that actually are systemized, they have the infrastructure and the people, guess what? We're crushing it, while the little mom and pop shops that, the owner operators that were like wholesaling or fix and flipping, they slowly started to bleed out and get out the game. Because why? If you don't evolve in this industry, you dissolve. If you don't have systems and processes and departments and people, guess what? You're going to dissolve, man. I'll just say this. If Chris is a wholesaler or a fix and flipper, and it's him and maybe his business partner, right? And here I am with this powerhouse of, it's me and my business partner, and then we got a director that runs the company, and then we got a project, an asset director, and we got acquisition managers and disposition managers and lead managers and transaction coordinators. We got this whole staff, right? Who do you think's going to win at the end of the month? We are. We're going to outnumber this guy by, 10, 20 deals, you know what I mean, that month. So eventually he's going to bleed out.
Never going to happen. To a normal person, that could happen. I agree. Okay, we were right here. Michael.
Let's do 3 more. Raise your hand if you actually have a question, so I make sure that I get to you before I leave. We got 1 here.
Yeah.
We got 1 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 more after this one, and we're good.
Hey guys, I'm Mike.
Hey, Mike.
I came from the franchise, restaurant business, and not having a ton of real estate experience. How does that play out for me?
Great. Because I've never met any type of business owner that didn't want to dabble or own real estate. If you think about it, right, every single road to wealth always leads to real estate. McDonald's isn't a burger joint. It's a real estate company. They own every hard corner, and they lease that out to the franchisees, you know what I mean? Again, especially with what's going on with institutional buying, they're trying to gobble up every single family home. They're trying to take over, right, so they can have all this control. Man, there's never, and I know you hear this a lot from a lot of real estate gurus, there's never been a better time. There's never been a better time. Like, this is the time to get in, because you might miss this boat. This kind of situation might not come for another 8, 10, or 12 years. You know what I mean? So it's a great time.
I want to just make a
And
commitment.
by the way, for you that don't have any experience, right? That's what the formula is for. You know what I mean? That's what this blueprint is for. It's for people like you, because everybody that has a business, they want to have a real estate business. They just can't. They physically can't. Their capacity doesn't allow them to, whatever. So when we come in with this blueprint of, hey, we can actually automate this for you and give you this money printing machine, then you're going to be more entitled, or more actually, what's the word I'm looking for? It's more appealing to you. You know what I mean? You're like, you know what? That actually sounds like a good deal. Let's do it.
So I think I'm piecing together that there's a number of you here that would be interested in the franchise side. I just want to be.
You still want to go back to the?
No, I just
the
want to be.
corporate.
I just want to be clear that when Carlos comes out in a couple of days, and we present this at UFD, there's going to be a lot of interested parties there. And then when he actually goes public with his network and my network, there's a really good chance that in the next 12 to 24 months that every territory is going to be gone. It's like a product launch that we've been building for 20 years, and this little tweak just makes it go kaboom. But I'm just making a commitment right now, since you're the first to hear about it, and since you're likely going to be the owners of it, that we will be prioritizing this group and territories before we go out to the rest of the market. Just welcome.
Nice.
This is, after all, a group of
amazing.
entrepreneurs. They have track records. They're successful in their lives and the things that they're doing. They bring a high level of commitment, and they come hang out at our events where they're basically taking in millions of dollars worth of information on how to psychologically be the most powerful versions of you. That's a big part of actually a franchise company selecting its partners. Because which partner do I want to pick for Texas in the Fort Lauderdale area? I want to pick someone that I know has track record of success, has been mentally prepared, properly trained, and is ready to absolutely go out and crush it, because we wouldn't want anyone else to have that territory. It is about finding the right partners, and this is a choice group for that.
One thing that we're implementing specifically that other organizations haven't done a really good job with is implementing community, right? Where we are doing private things, private trips, private events, right? Private trainings, etc. That's what we're doing with Property, because we want our success rate to be in the 90s. You know, I think the only reason why somebody should fail at this is because they absolutely just don't care in any way, and they move away to like Thailand or something. You know what I mean? Right? Because the blueprint's there, and all we got to do is turn it on.
Yep.
That's it. It's business in a box.
All right, next we had, was it right here? Give us your name.
Scott.
Hey, Scott.
So like he said, I feel like I'm jacked on Monster or Red Bull right now. It's pretty cool. So Carlos, I do development, all multifamily development. I have a GC company, operates in Maryland, DC, Northern Virginia as well, and have interest in a couple of boutique hotels in the SEC schools. This in single family, I started a side hustle recently in tax deeds and tax liens. And you were talking about, you just did a quick flip in California, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You never, is that similar?
Berkeley. Yeah, Berkeley. So that was a probate list that we actually cold called to,
Okay.
and then we got the owner on the. Actually, it was, yeah. So he inherited this property from his mom, and he didn't want to. He's like, hey man, I don't really care for it. Here's the property. I know it's worth 1.2 mil or something. And we got it for like, I think it was in the high fours. So it was a pretty good deal for us. And again, that's just one small little strategy of everything that we do on how to actually get these deals.
So I have an office in Maryland and one in Atlanta. I'll take those territories.
Okay.
Stop it. Stop it. Now we're getting greedy. We're claiming multiple
He
territories.
wants two territories.
Okay, was this one of our questions? We had two more. One was right here. Here we go. Second to last.
Hey, I'm John.
Hey!
What's up? The software that you're putting into this, is there a need, or do you plan to try and get a patent or some type of protection so you can't copy it, can't use it, can't touch it?
That's your department, man.
Well, I mean, these are software as services, right? You got something like, here, I'll give you an example of one of the softwares. One of the softwares is it's called Prospect X, and it's a CRM that, it's one of its own kind, by the way. It's a CRM, but it also retrieves data. It's skip trace data, right? You have your CRM there, and then also tracks KPIs for you. You know what I mean? It tracks marketing campaigns for you. Again, that's just one software of the many that are going to be involved with specifically with this. You know what I mean? So we haven't discussed to that degree, but I know that we're going to throw everything, the entire kitchen sink at this venture to make sure that everybody is served and everybody wins,
Yeah, and if
So it's
someone
gonna be cool.
tries to steal, we'll kill them.
Yeah, they can't.
Financially.
Yeah.
Financially.
Yeah.
It's called a lawsuit.
Real quick, the closest thing to even the software that I just mentioned is a software called PropStream. Who's ever heard of PropStream? Right? PropStream is the closest thing, and PropStream doesn't have a CRM, right? And their company just got valuated at 180, or actually they sold. They sold to a title agency or a title company, and for like 9 figures. You know what I mean? So, and even they don't have the functions that we have with one of the softwares that is going to be in this venture. Yeah.
Final question was right here.
My name is Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Just had a quick question. When you answered one of your questions, you briefly mentioned the leads. Would you be responsible for generating the leads, or is that something the software does, or would the franchisee be responsible for that?
We would more than likely do the marketing for you, right? I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that there's a budget, and then that we actually bring in those leads every single day for you, or for whoever is in the company, to actually manage those leads and convert those leads into deals. So we actually know how to do that, in my opinion, better than anybody else in the nation. That's how we land off-market discounted properties, whether it's direct mail, pay-per-click, search engine optimization, text blast, cold calling, whatever it is. We know how to get you the leads that you're going to need in order to convert. And the beautiful part about that is, like metrically speaking, for the past 10 years, this is what the data shows, not only in our company, but in other, you have to remember, we train so many different companies in every part of the nation, right? So I can tell you that for every 55 cold call leads, you convert 1 contract. For every 12 pay-per-click leads, you convert 1 deal. You see, we have all this data already for you. So that's going to be a huge advantage to every single franchisee, that we already have the data. There's no need to be playing the beta testing and the guessing game. We already have the numbers. So that's going to be cool.
Cherry on the top, it includes a third-party company as a service that Carlos created that's out of Egypt.
Mexico and Egypt.
Mexico and Egypt, that does all of the original cold calling for you. So it's teeing up deals for you, so you're not dialing for dollars. Again, going from an archaic manual world to something really sweet. Friends, that is our time with Carlos. Can we please give it up for Carlos Reyes?
Thank you.
Brother.
Thank you, brother. I'll see you soon. I'm going to catch this flight.
Yeah, please do. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.